Hey, how are you doing, Yuri?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm just good. I'm a little exhausted. I had training in the morning, so I'm not used to it, so a little out of it. But sorry about my lateness. I was like just a little out of it. Um,
All good, morning.
what have you been up to lately, Yuri?
Um, I've been working on new projects. I have a five sports book with Tom, and we start launching, and with the COVID and everything, we had to, not just like
Right.
us, like everybody else, except for Amazon.
Right.
So yeah, and just doing those things, taking care of the gym and helping my friends out, and super happy that IBJJF came back. So that's something that we can put that in mind.
Right on. Are you still with the Blackzilians?
Uh, no, the Black Zillions doesn't. They're done long time ago, and I train with Fight Sports, and that's all I do. I do most jiu-jitsu now and grappling.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that the Blacks. Okay, I didn't know about that. I assume that they were still around, but isn't it the same? Isn't it the same team though?
So today there is Stanford MMA, and there's a lot of people that work from the Black Zillions. They
Oh,
don't,
okay.
but Black Zillions is done. Um, Rest in peace, Glenn Robinson. He passed away a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's pretty much done. That was a great time. We built that team from scratch. I saw all the days. I saw the first days, second days. I remember when John Jones beat Shogun, he became the
Mm-hmm.
champion. That was on Saturday. On Sunday night, we're having our first Black Zines officially a meeting. So
Mm-hmm.
those things I can't forget.
No, you can't. You certainly can't take that away for sure. Um, no. Who are you currently training with?
So I train on the Cyborg Abreu.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
he he just got announced as a co-main event now for who's number one. He's fighting against Lucas Barbosa, Hulk, and he got his fight today, and he's flying tomorrow, and then he's fighting the best in the world on Saturday. So the dude is 38 years old. I think, and he's fighting the top of the top, the youngest, the lion, the big lion is coming. He's like, I'll take it. Let's go.
There you go. Well, hopefully he wins for sure, man. Um, yeah. Uh, you were previously training at ATT. Um, so what made you decide to leave?
That's that has been a while, but
Yeah.
ATT was it was everything. I was one of the first fighters that they grew from scratch.
Mhm.
Probably when a lot of talent went to ATT.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about this ATT. I'm talking about old, way before me. I'm talking
Mhm.
about when Thiago Alves got there, when he had $70 in his pocket. I'm talking about when Josias Cavalcante was there, and he didn't even know if he was gonna get his papers. Today he's a citizen.
Mhm.
George Santiago, that is Kamaru Usman's BJJ coach. I'm talking about those days. I was not
Mhm.
even there. On those days, they were having they had the money to bring people, but they built those people to be world champions. That's what they did.
Mhm.
But I was the other generation that started there, trained, turned 18, start fighting, and it was so different because in 10 months I was 18 years old, 10 months, I did 5 fights.
Hmm.
Today, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's hard unless you're in Florida. It's super hard, you know.
Yeah, I think with Florida, they're definitely getting the reputation of having a lot of good fighters coming out of Florida, like just training in Florida in general. Um, and you're starting to see that with uh, I'm trying to say like more in like Europe as well. Um, like you're starting to see the shift in training, and like there was a lot of hype in New Zealand with the New Zealand fighters and the ones like a lot of the New Zealand fighters and the ones in Florida, and it seems like they're doing a lot of good things with the fighters there. And
Yeah, you cannot deny you have two champions, UFC champions, but
mhm,
uh, but those guys been doing that for forever,
mhm.
forever. And now just because they have two champions, people think the magic drink is in New Zealand.
Yeah,
And
but isn't certainly true.
people they see the success, but they don't see when Israel was in China fighting every week, kickboxing. They don't
Hmm.
see that. They don't know that. You know what I mean? It is things like that. People just see it now and they think, okay, I gotta go here because you gotta see what they've been doing. And that's what nobody saw it. And then he just
Hmm.
showed up. And then Volkanov showed up and they both.
Yeah, and it certainly seems like more of a well, they're successful, so that's where you're gonna be. That's where you got to go to be successful, and it's not necessarily true. It's I think it just kind of worked out that way. I mean, I'm not taking away that they don't have a great coach or they're not doing something right there, but I don't. Well, like when I mentioned that those seem to be the hot spots right now. That's just how it seems to be, and then you don't know in 3 years.
Yeah,
Um,
no. I feel like I'm sorry for cutting off, but I feel like in three places to be in the United States is Florida, Colorado, California. The
mhm,
rest is kind of spread out. I'm not gonna say if you're not from those places, not gonna, oh, Nevada too. There's a lot of fighters in Nevada in Las Vegas, but it's either it's either those places, you know, that's where they have the most traffic.
mhm.
The
Yeah.
high caliber fighters on the same mat. Like you can see a lot of great fighters on the same spot, you know?
Right. Um, yeah. So I did want to touch on more about that, but I do want to kind of move on more towards for you. Um, yeah. So I guess I want to start at the beginning here. What drove you to get into MMA?
My family, but my dad is just like a legend, you know. Not because I'm saying that, not because of he's a red belt, not because he had over 200 Vale Tudo fights, not because he never went to school, but he retired working as a dealing with congressmen and president and senators and things like that, talking to them.
Hmm.
So he knew how hard it was. He never put me to do MMA. He put me to do judo because this
Hmm.
is a great sport for a kid. Judo, jiu-jitsu is a great sport for a kid to build the character,
I
build
agree.
things that sometimes the parents like they're just too busy or they didn't get that. So they don't know how to pass to their kids. So those sports can really save a lot of kids, cause the parents way less trouble. You know what I mean? Just putting them there and having a black belt to tell
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
different things in life. You know?
Right. And I like the point that you brought up about about kids learning judo and BJJ and I do have to agree with that. With building character and discipline um and it's now the one thing I do have concern about. Do you think it can be a bit of a um dangerous thing for kids to learn that? And the reason why I'll get to that is because kids that learn to defend themselves by using judo or BJJ. But do you feel like that could be dangerous because if they use it on the street, um, it's no secret that no one fights fair on the street. And say you have someone on the ground and you got a buddy come up behind you and boot you in the face. I mean, how how far do you think that takes kids?
I mean, I don't have kids, but
Right.
if my kid, he can, the biggest fear for me, it was to have my kid on a situation like that and he don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Period. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's my biggest fear because and then he can get really hurt. If somebody comes there to harm him and try to hurt him, he's defending himself. But were you saying that, and then that's now it's a difference. Two people, it's totally different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But sports get your kid friends, things like that. He's not just gonna be on his phone by himself, like with somebody that coming and try to bully them. Because people that bully others, that means they're very weak mentally because they're never gonna bully the person that they know is gonna fight back.
Mm-hmm.
So if your kid doesn't know how to fight back or he stand up for himself once, he always gonna be the kid that is gonna get bullied.
Oh,
Simple as that.
absolutely. Yeah, and I don't know if you ever watch the videos on YouTube, but they'll have like the video of like you get the bully who's throwing punches, and then out of nowhere the kid drops his bag and then just hip tosses him on the ground, just slams him on the ground, and it's um, I don't know it like I don't like I agree. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. That's part of getting rid of bullies is teaching them that like, hey, like you're not gonna pick on me. You're not gonna do this kind of things. But I feel what my fear is that the problem is everybody is gonna start to pick up those moves and you're going to start seeing people get seriously injured or seriously hurt. It's not just going to be a fist fight where someone gets clocked and then that's it and it's done. You're going to start to see people learning whether it's jumping into someone's guard and there's nothing the person can do. And I guess like you're starting to see a lot of kids picking up a little bit of every kind of fighting style, and I think that can sometimes be dangerous. And that's why I think it is good for kids to learn properly, whether it's BJJ, karate, judo, whatever fighting style it is, to learn it properly so they know how to properly use it and not to hurt someone dangerously. Whether it's just, um, it could be simple as someone's out of control, and you learn not just to, you don't just learn the moves, you don't just learn um, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but you learn how to use it properly and how to respect the movement and stuff. Like, so I have my black belt in Shotokan karate, kind of like Machida's style, and like one thing I always learned was this is for your self defense, and it's not so much meant like of course it's great. I'm learning all these moves and I'm learning whether it's this combination or whatever, but I'm not gonna go and use it to show everyone who's the big boss at the school. It's meant and it's more about the discipline. And it's about the self-defense. It's never for attacking anybody, or it's never meant to use in a fight. It's meant to defend yourself, essentially. Um, and that's always something that my um, uh, just thinking of the word right now. Um, my like my instructor always told me was my sensei uh, had taught me is that I will teach you everything I can teach you, but I never ever want to hear you use it on someone at school to show how much of a badass you are. Because just because you get your black belt does not mean anything. It means you're open to learn. Would you agree
But
with that?
that's just the main job of the black belt or whoever is teaching the class. That's
Mm.
his main job. If you
Yep.
want to be the tough guy, you want to be the real one, the number one, that's why the competitions are there for. And that's
Hmm.
it. And that's it. Because we have regulations, and we'll have somebody watching and stopping if somebody get really bad, really hurt. And that's it. If you want to be the tough guy, prove among the tough guys. That's it.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
absolutely. I totally agree. I'm sorry, I kind of was talking about myself here. Let's get this back on the focus on you here. So, I mean, you've had a long history of being in different organizations, whether it be UFC, Strikeforce, Victory FC, PFL, I think it's called. So, I guess like what are you like what's your future look like? Are you still signed with PFL or what's the deal?
Currently, I'm not signing with nobody. My
Okay.
last fight it was a title fight on Titan FC.
Mhm.
I lost to Michael Graves on my opinion, it was an early stoppage on the end of the fourth round. He
Mhm.
was hitting me. I tried to move. I tried to get out a few times. I only think it was early stoppage because I remember on the end he's sitting down and I'm standing up. So for me that didn't make sense. He was so tired, but I was not even close to being knocked out.
Mhm.
Being knocked out in my career, and that's one thing I got hit a lot, but doesn't mean I got knocked out. Man, I always push myself. I always train real hard. I always train among very tough, high calibers fighters since before I start fighting pro.
Mhm.
Lil Nog, he used to fight. When I started living that life, he was fighting in Japan. He was submitting Dan Henderson like it was nothing.
Yeah,
And Saturday, the guy retires. You know what I
I
mean?
know. That's nuts. I saw that.
I used to have a English bulldog, and he had the son of it. I remember the day that we went there to pick up the dog, me and him and some other fighter, and like seeing him retiring. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, wow, it's
And
crazy.
he's what, like 41, I think.
Fun, I think.
I'm sorry.
Do you know he's a lawyer? You didn't know that, huh?
I did not know that.
Before he was a fighter, he passed law school. He has all the papers, everything.
So, I mean, potentially he could, go back to that or fall back on that if he wanted to.
Yeah, but his image is protected. They're both icons, so he's good.
Hmm. Yeah, well, him and his brother, yeah, definitely. I don't know. I mean, I could kind of see them doing maybe some like broadcasting work or like some commentating work maybe in a different league or in a different organization maybe.
So that's how it works in Brazil. Nobody buys pay-per-views. Nobody. So you have one-time fee for this channel that is um, 24 hours just fighting, all types of different fighting.
That's
So
actually pretty sweet.
yeah, it's called combat. Combat.
Might
So if you pay one-time fee, you watch all the pay-per-views, you watch all the shows, you watch everything. So UFC, when UFC got big in Brazil, what they
hmm.
did, they bought half of the channel.
Oh,
It
okay.
was owned by UFC. And Big Nog, he's the UFC president, and he works as a commentator in Portuguese because that's the one that nobody knows how it happened. Because we watch in English, we watch Joe Rogan, but he's actually doing what Joe Rogan and whoever is there. He only commentates the main card. He doesn't commentate the whole fight. They have a team for the prelims and they have a team for the main card. So that's how it goes in Brazil.
That's actually pretty sweet. Yeah, when you're mentioning about the whole thing about the combat, you have like 24 hours a day on the TV with the fighting. My sister, she lived in Brazil for a year, and she talked about like, yeah, that was like a big thing in Brazil. Like it's, like she saw it everywhere. That's kind of how she got into watching MMA. That's how she got sucked into all that stuff. Like uh, she was about 17 maybe when she went. She's almost 30 now. So like she was watching the time with Anderson Silva, and he was like her biggest, like she was like the biggest fan. She loved him. Um, and then obviously she just kind of got out of the whole MMA game. She doesn't watch as much as she used to. Um, but she talked about how like you see that all over, and that's how she got so sucked into it. And she loved it. She loved living in Brazil. She loved it. It was like a rotary exchange, so she just lived with like multiple families. I think she was living in Sao Paulo, Rio. I think that was about it. But yeah, she said she just loved it, and she loved just the atmosphere of Brazil and how people take so much passion into into MMA and fighting.
Big, big. We're so going back on my dad. My dad is 83.
Hmm.
He was 17, 18. You people already were fighting. People already doing big events.
Hmm.
So my dad was about, I don't know, on his 40s, late 30s, on his 40s. That's when he did his last fights. So that is a long time. And people always love a fair and square scrap. No
Oh,
matter where you
it's
are, no matter where you are, there is no way because that's how the world goes. Is the energy? Is people? A lot of people they want to see what's going on. People want to see one guy getting messed up. People want to see the confrontation. Who is who? If a fight breaks out anywhere in the world, everybody stops to watch.
hmm.
Imagine if you prepare to do that and you have your mindset ready to do that that there is somebody as dangerous as you doing the same thing and working towards the same goal. Honestly, you can ask any fighter if you, the moment that you sign that line, clicks, it changes.
Hmm.
You get sharper. You wake up earlier. It is how it is. It's nothing like signing up for a fight.
Hmm. Absolutely, absolutely.
You
Um,
need more motivation than that. Having somebody try to beat you up. That's it.
it's kind of a surreal kind of thing, like knowing like shit, I'm gonna be going in and getting paid to try to finish this guy,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
And it yeah, and you're right, kind of shifts your mindset into that whole thing, and that kind of draws into my next question for you, is that like so you have a good resume of both KOs and submissions. So what do you like better?
Okay. Submitting a guy is good. It's amazing because he's gonna go home. I'm gonna go home. He can go to his family. I can go to my family. We don't need to go to hospital. We don't need to do
Hmm.
anything. Monday he can start training. I can start training. Eventually he can start fighting again. I can start fighting again.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean I know like people talk about, oh yeah, I want to knock this guy out. Um, yeah, and I like that the way you mentioned that, because it certainly shows that you have a lot of respect for other fighters and the care and welfare of them, knowing that okay, I beat you and I got my finish, but I'm going to make sure that you can still go home with your family, and we both got paid, essentially.
Okay, but you train hard. This guy is punching you, hurting you. You go there and you do something, and then that person just falls, and then you still standing up. I don't know what matches that feeling.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'm
Yeah.
fortunate to have to feel that feeling a couple times in my life, and that's why you see a lot of people from grappling, they're very strong. When they start knocking people out, that's all they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Gilbert.
Yeah, and it kind of seems a bit of like a addiction, like a drug. Like you do it once and then you want to keep doing it in a sense.
And then Jacare knocks Chris Weidman in Madison Square Garden. Beautiful knockout, probably the best fight of his life. And then a couple of fights later, he almost get out. No, he got out grappled by not just like probably the best guy in the jiu-jitsu right now in that middleweight, because that guy, that's all he does. I don't know how to pronounce his name. The one who just beat Kevin Gastelum.
Oh,
Jake.
Yeah, I can't. I know who you're thinking of, but I just can't.
He fought Kevin Gastelum, one of the most vicious fighters in the division. And
Um,
he didn't even got touched. He didn't even got touched, and then he finished the fight.
yeah,
How that's beauty. That's like when you use your abilities, use strategy, and you're able to apply on the moment against an animal like Kevin. That must be amazing.
yeah. And the guy that I think you're thinking of was Jack Hemmelson or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, the European guy, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
he's got some serious grappling.
serious. And
Um,
he's big, lean. He knows what he's doing. And now that he beat Jocker and now he beat Kevin, yeah,
yeah, he looks like a legit contender.
yeah.
But we'll have to see.
He has to pass Robert. He has to pass Alexandre, Paulo. That's a tough.
I wanted your opinion about Paulo Costa and Israel. How do you see that? How do you see that fight kind of going with a guy like Paulo Costa?
Okay, if you see Paulo and you see Israel, Paulo is gonna come strong. Israel might get clipped. He's gonna try to move and try to be elusive and try to throw him off,
Mm-hmm.
throw Paulo off. But but Paulo is very stubborn. He's gonna come to swing everything.
Mm-hmm. And
He's a
that's
so we need to see how it's gonna play it out. I cannot, or either it's gonna be Paulo connecting and be able to connect all the time and keep the pressure, or it's gonna be the style bender doing what he does, moving around, find his rhythm, find his timing during the fight, and finish winning. Because that's what he does.
yeah. I don't know. When I first saw Paulo Costa come into the UFC, I thought he was more just a powerhouse, power lifter, looks scary, big, powerful. But after I think what was his? I think it was his last two wins. I was like, okay, this guy's a serious problem. He like the guy. He had a great fight with the Jamaican. I'm using all nationalities here. There's so many guys out there. Uriah Hall, I think.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Uriah Hall.
Yes, yes. After his fight with him, I was like, this guy's a serious problem.
That was an
And
amazing fight. He put on a show on that. Actually, he put on a show on every fight. That's why he got the title shot.
yeah,
He, yeah, that's how it's gonna be. Or either he's gonna connect, or either he's not gonna connect, and the end is gonna be. But beginning for sure, Paulo, and for sure Israel.
yeah,
But two undefeated fighters on their peak. You cannot get a better fighter than that. Fighting for the world title.
both undefeated.
Yes.
So I'm pretty excited for it. Let's see how that one goes.
Up is either the trilogy with the heavyweights or Khabib and Gaethje. So
Yes.
he's actually doing a great job. Nobody's
Yeah.
doing what he's doing it, and you have to respect that. And to be able to put those three main events back to back to back, month to month to month, those are huge, huge, huge fights. Huge fights.
Yeah. I'm excited for every single one of them. I was more. I mean, I have mixed feelings about the whole idea that happened with Gaethje and Ferguson. I mean, Gaethje, he outboxed him. He had the perfect game plan. You know, there's no excuses. Um, it's no secret I'm a Ferguson fan. Um, I much rather have seen Ferguson fight Khabib. Um, but Gaethje will be a good fight too. I sense Gaethje's gonna get dominated. He doesn't have the best cardio, and that's where I'm kind of concerned. Is that I mean, on the feet, he could box Khabib up, but the problem is that Khabib doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's gonna just charge at you, take you down, and do what he does the best. Um, and it's not so much just his submission skills or his jiu-jitsu, but it's just the way he gets a hold of you and you can't do anything. And I think that's what makes him so deadly.
Okay, I understand that, but Gaethje earned it. Nobody gave it to him from fight to fight to fight. After he got knocked out by Poirier, it started when Alvarez knocked him out. And I had the pleasure to help Eddie stay the last 2 weeks of his camp with him on his house. We train a lot. Of course, I'm not saying because of me, but we train a lot together. And to see Gaethje getting knocked out for the first time, that was the beginning. Not the beginning of the end. It was the beginning of the real beginning. And then Poirier, he's just so good and so crisp. Knocked him out again. I bet he couldn't walk for a couple weeks, but he knocked him out again.
Hmm.
And then that's when that was the real beginning. And then it's hard. That guy now he has his rhythm. And the other thing,
Hmm.
he lives in Colorado. Other thing, he he trains with his college wrestling still. So he's the type of guy that never got out of his roots. He's
Hmm.
still training at his college gym. Doesn't mean, oh, they're not Khabib. Of course they're not Khabib, but he's sharp. He doesn't need to be training for Khabib. He needs to be training for him. Because that's what Khabib doesn't train. Khabib does the same thing, 27 fights. You think he trained for anybody else? No, he trained for Khabib. That's why he's Khabib.
Hmm.
And he has a great, great addition on his camp. Who?
I'm sorry.
Who Gaethje has on his camp now, helping him? Who?
I couldn't even guess. You're gonna have to tell me on this one.
Who's Khabib? Who is the bigger Khabib? Kamaru Usman.
Really?
They're sharing the same coach. They're training together. So that's his training partner. So people are not thinking about that. Khabib's facing the best sprawl and brawl fighter ever that he ever faced, hands down.
Yeah.
Nobody can hit like Gaethje. Nobody has hands like Gaethje on that division. Poirier is better, But I'm saying hands like with that pressure of punch is
Yes.
hard. He hits hard for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
That's amazing
It,
fight.
I think yeah, I'm not saying I'm not excited for it. I was more excited for the Tony Ferguson one just because we never got to see it. It just seems like just destiny is not meant for them to fight. Um, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see. We don't, I mean, until the fight happens, you really don't know. It could go either way. But I'm excited for it. It's gonna be. I hope that Gaethje, we see what Gaethje can do on the ground because he is a wrestler. So
No, he's not. He's not training to do guard. He's not.
no,
It's sprawl, knee, low kick, punch you on the face.
yeah,
He's not. That's not who he is. He's not gonna go there and do guard like Tony would do it. No. And and to I really like Tony too. He represents like he's a different character on a fighting. You have to love that guy. What he did. I know that he wasn't the best fighting Gaethje for sure.
no,
You could see, but you're the same way you saw a gap between him and Gage
yeah,
because people were watching that fight and they were thinking about Tony's family. They're thinking about, oh my God, this guy is getting hit. It was a hard fight. That
and I
fight
mean,
can take a lot out of you. You know what I mean?
well, and I mean that fight, you could hear it like he was getting. It wasn't just jabs. He was getting smacked hard the whole fight. And I mean, I was kind of, I don't know if I could watch the fight anymore. It was like the third and a half, fourth round where I don't know if I could watch anymore just because of how
And you're Tony's fan.
I am a Tony fan, but just I don't know if I could watch him more just because of watch how much damage the guy was taking, and how he was getting like just the shots that he was taking. It was unbelievable how his chin held up.
How? I don't know how. I don't know because his mindset is just totally different than not even the average. His mindset is different than the elite level.
Hmm.
He, but his mindset, but mindset is not everything. Mindset is what held him.
Hmm.
Now he was, but to win is different.
Right, right. Um, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. We could continue talking about this, but I did want to kind of get some more questions for you personally. Um, So what's your plan for the future? Do you have any fight offers from any organizations? Anything coming out?
So no. So my plan is I'm taking Gilbert's blueprint is to fight as much as grappling you can, and when the MMA fight happens, you're sharp, you're in competition, you're used to it, and
Right.
that's all. Um, yeah, taking care of my gym, training my students, building not just good people on the mats, but in life, representing what I represent my family, represent my team, and keep doing jiu-jitsu, keep doing jiu-jitsu because that's where I came from. That's why I need to keep going, competing, because at 17 years old, I was a blue belt juvenile world champion, no gi. I turned 18 years old. I stopped because I was making money fighting. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I stopped, and that was my biggest regret I have because if I just kept going, and then today I realized that one helps the other a lot, tremendously. You got to be real good at one thing, and the other comes along. You know.
Right.
So I'm just around a great group of people that they push me. They help me deal with things, not just on the mats. And that's it, man. Keep competing. If a fight shows up and it makes sense, I never turn down a fight, and I never will. If it makes sense.
Right. Okay. Yeah, if it makes sense, you got to do what you got to do. Um, and I guess I just have a few more for you. So, obviously, you still have some fights ahead of you. But let's take like we're gonna look like in the future. Do you have any plans on what you want to do once you retire from MMA?
So that's what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? That's
Okay.
my retirement plan. Is
Okay.
jujitsu. It's learning how to now I'm learning how to work on the gym. So when I have my own, it's much easier. I'm getting paid to go to college. How much I want it for? No, I'm
Right.
learning. I know how to teach a class, but it's not just about teaching a class. It's running a business. It's talking to people. It's making sure people having the right training for them. They know that there is people that is there to learn. There is people there to compete. There is personality problems. Their personality. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
so much that you gotta know that you gotta deal with it and you gotta learn. And that's what I'm doing right now. You know?
Right. Um, and just I guess it's kind of a fun one. Do you have a favorite fighter of yours, or someone that you admire?
Very hard. It's very hard to have one favorite fighter.
Okay, you can pick maybe a couple then. I'll give you some freebies.
So let's talk about why they're my favorite fighters.
Okay, fair enough.
So if you say Anderson Silva, why? Because he made people that didn't even see fighting, and they made people admire fighting, like your sister, like people from outside. They don't know, but they know the Tiger Woods, the Michael Jordan MMA is fighting. They're gonna see it, and then what Anderson did his whole life, and then you get morphin.
Hmm.
His image, his persona. John Jones, why he's one of my favorite fighters? Because nobody did what he did with the people that he did. He
Hmm.
dominated every single one. The dude was not even, I don't know what belt he was, or maybe he didn't even know how to tie a belt, and he had more submissions in the division against super high level people.
Hmm.
Now let's say Conor. Why Conor? Because Conor changed even more the whole game. He brought things that are super good for the sport, and he brought things that kind of fucked up the sport. Like everybody wanted to be like him, but they don't realize that he is not pushing to be somebody. That's who he is. The dude
Yes.
don't need to fight. He don't need to fight. But if somebody talks to him, even if you're an old man on the bar, he's gonna talk back and he's gonna punch you. That's who he is. That's how he grew up. He didn't grow up the way he lives right now, but he's still the same guy, but just with a lot more money.
Hmm.
Now let's go. You gotta respect the story of George Masvidal. You have to. You
Yeah.
have to. You have to. From the dude is a fighter from the heart. He always were ready, no matter how big you were. He's the person that I got beat up. I got punched on the face for. I was 17 years old. He punched me on the face square because his boxing was 10 times better than mine. And he look at me like, okay, I hit you real clean. You're gonna give up? Oh, you're not giving up. And that's when I'll see the smile on his face. And then he'll hit me more. And then he'll be looking if I was gonna give up. And then every time I did it, he'll be like liking me more, and to see. So Anderson was here, Connor was here, and now what George is
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Trigger, people are saying he's getting 18%. I don't, I never heard of nothing even close to that. I know they made a lot of money. Yeah. Nate Diaz against Conor, yeah, he made stupid money. But 18% on 1.3 million,
That's
that,
pretty damn good.
yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
In 6 days? In 6 days, imagine you in 6 days, and you just gonna go fight that guy for 5 rounds, and you're gonna get this amount of money, guaranteed. Plus what I'm gonna get you. That's not the manager talking to. Imagine that.
hmm
Go in a private jet all the way to Dubai, collect all that money, and come back and eat some pizza on the way back. Yeah,
That sounds like a pretty damn good payday.
but he earned it. He earned his spot.
hmm
Not, it was never given to him. He's been fighting people don't even know. He's been fighting. People don't even
And
know.
before that,
I remember because George is a good friend of mine. George was a Sengoku. People don't even know what Sengoku is. He was a, is it was an old organization in Japan. He was fighting there too. I know that because they went together. They used to have a show together on YouTube and everything. And let's see the last one. The last one right now, the guy that you see, and then I don't see people beating him, is the new flyweight champion from Brazil, David
Figueiredo.
Figueiredo.
Yes.
That guy. When I see him fighting, I felt that 3 times in my life. It was when I saw Rashad Evans fighting for the first time, and then John Jones for the first time, and then when I saw that guy, I'm like, wow, he has that sense of invincibility. He has that sense of that guy's too strong. He's from a place in Brazil that is like an island on the Amazon, and they're very culture and they very to themselves, and they have their own wrestling. So he grew, and they love that. And to see a fighter coming out of there, and now he's the champion of the world, beating wow, just forgot his name, beating Benavides,
Yes.
because Benavides only lost like twice or 3 times, and all title fights. No, no, he lost four or
Yeah,
5 times,
four. Yes.
and they all title fights, most of them. So the dude fought in the highest level and only lost to the best, and
hmm
he got murked on the first round.
Oh my God.
Like
Yeah.
when you see number one versus number two, and you see something like that, you don't see number one versus number two, and he's like that. You don't.
No. No.
Look at
Uh,
Volkanovski and Max Holloway. People think Max won, and it was 5 rounds.
yeah. Yeah. The first fight, I think Max won, or not Max. Alexander. Yeah, Volkanovski won the first fight, no doubt. Second fight, I think was close. Um, I think it was more Max, but it I think that's the problem with the judging today is that I think it's more you really have to show that you beat the champion to become the champion. You can't just get a close decision like, yeah, you probably won the fight. You have to whoop the guy's ass for 5 rounds to guarantee to get the belt, I think.
It has been like that for a while. It's hard. It's hard.
It
You
is.
know, like Volkanovski had to really be Max to take his belt, and always gonna be like that because he's on the judges. You know, they know who the judges are, so they have that argument all the time. They had to have that. Oh, he didn't beat him, but like that. So that's maybe just a backup plan. But if you want to be the GOAT, you got, and I forgot about it. If you want to be the GOAT, you got to be like Amanda Nunes. Just not destroy the container, but destroy all the legends, wipe out all the best woman in different weight classes, and then you're good.
Yeah, she's I don't know what's left for her. Like I had some doubts about her just because of who she was kind of fighting, but I mean after her last 3 4 fights, I said there's no way. Like the only person who I think had a chance with her was Shevchenko, and she's my favorite female fighter. Um, and besides her, no, I don't think any other woman's really done anything against her, despite like since she's got the belt. Obviously she lost to Zingano, but besides that, I mean, like she's had a pretty
Yeah, I feel like it's
dominant run.
she moved weighty. She really found herself there.
Mm-hmm.
She did. She settled her training. She settled her coaches, and she basically have the same coaches, and she is unstoppable. I don't see. Okay, what is left for her? She's a megastar. That's what is left for her. She's gonna fight once a year. That's what
And
she
I
deserves.
think she should.
And why? Why? Maybe because she's still hungry and she wants to keep getting those paydays. Okay, I understand that. But her image is women's MMA. Nobody's even close. The only person you can talk about is Ronda. But and then you talk about Ronda, yeah, but then you remember what she did to Ronda,
Yeah.
and then you can't. But without Ronda, she wasn't getting her payday. She wouldn't have her recognition. She wouldn't have nothing compared to
No.
what she's doing now. But that's it. That's it.
Yeah. She definitely opened up the women's game for sure. Um, and I don't know. I'm looking forward. I want to I want to see a female fighter that has the same caliber, the same strength, skill wise, everything. And I love to see her go against a girl that has the same kind of caliber as her. And I just want to see that. I think that'd be a great fight. I mean, there was Chris Cyborg, but I think that was I want to see that fight again with Cyborg making adjustments.
No,
Um,
but Cyborg is on Bellator, and that fight is
yeah,
gone. Not gonna happen in
yeah,
history. But honestly, she separated herself. That's the honest truth. And
mhm.
we need to focus on maybe uh, I don't know Zhang, the Chinese champion,
Willie Zhang, yeah,
against Shevchenko. That's a fight to
yes,
talk about. That's a real fight to talk about.
hmm
Uh, like I said, she's gone, and they're late. They're late to try to catch her. You know,
hmm
that's the truth. She needs to focus on her family, doing all the things. She needs to be good at doing all the things. She's too good fighting.
yeah, she is. And
She's
I think
commercials. She deserves. She needs to be doing those things more and more and more. Those things.
yeah,
Look
absolutely,
around her. She don't want. She never needed to fight. She first of all she's a humble girl. She's a family girl, humble girl. All that money she was not spending. She's making a lot more money than she was spending.
right.
So she's happy. She's happy. She don't want to no, fight. Why? No. It's just a If you're real good at fighting, real good at fighting, and then you gotta learn how to do other things. You have to. Or not even if you, but if you hit some level on fighting, if you just go fighting, when you're done, you're done. You can't do that. You gotta build other skills and learn how to build the image in different ways.
And yeah, that's true. Sorry, we're just kind of coming up on time here, so I just have kind of one more question for you, and you're welcome to say in English or Portuguese if you want. What's your message to younger or future fighters?
My message is don't don't do it because you think it's fun, but if you wanna hit a professional level, right? That's the question, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So don't do it because you think it's fun. Do it because it's in your heart. Do it because you love it. Because I'm telling you what my dad told me. Uh, that face that your mom kissed is not easy to get hit. You know what I mean? It's not easy,
Hmm.
and you really gotta be mentally there, physically and technically. You get with the time. But if your mind is not there and you don't love it, you better not even do it because whoever is doing is so hard that honestly, you gotta love it to do it. That's it. You gotta love it. All those guys that are on the highest level, they didn't start because it was fun. They started because they had a vision, they had a dream, they had a something dragging them to there. You know what I mean? And that's the
Hmm.
only way. That's the only way. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter how much money, how you look, no. All it matters if your heart and your mind is there. If you have those, you can conquer the world. I was just talking about Figueiredo. He's from nothing. Today, the whole world knows his name.
Hmm.
Simple as that. So doesn't matter.
Perfect. Thanks, Yuri, for coming on the podcast and sharing your experiences and stories and your views on the game of MMA. I hope nothing but the best for you. And please stay safe out there. Stay healthy. The coronavirus is not looking good in Florida, so just stay healthy and take care, eh?
You too. Have a good one.